Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to the World Tapping Circle. Thank you for joining us. What a relief to be here with you. If this is your first time, you're in for a treat. Please, if you're live with us, say hello. Let us know where you're logging in from so we can feel our community, our tap tribe, our love tribe, all over this beautiful planet. There are people who join us from all kinds of different countries, people who will be watching this video while we are sleeping and dreaming because they're watching it in a whole nother time zone. And hello to the people in the future who will be watching this days or weeks or months from now. I'm going to say hi to a few people in the chat and then we're going to get going. Hi Diane in Bellingham, Washington. Magnus, hello. Yeshi, hello. Celeste, aloha back to you. Tina in Bali. Marianne and Ben sending love. Super happy that you're having a tapping party at your house, doing the 2-for-1. So whenever anyone logs in, you always have my permission to have friends come and join you. If you have people in your house, bring them along. It'll uplift the vibe for everybody. Rosina, hello. Kristen, hello. Alexandra, Joan, Corey in Madison, Wisconsin. Jonna in Washington State. Lori V in Oakland. Erica in Austin. Bree in Temple, Texas. Micah J says, triggered and ready for a tap here in Austin. Marjorie B likes the topic. Cindy Reed C in California, so happy to be here with you as well. Shelley in New Brunswick, Christina L, Santa Rosa, California. There are a lot of people in this room. I'm just going to say hi to all of y'all. I think it's going to take too long if I read this whole list. Glad to see so many familiar names. And welcome to the World Tapping Circle. Hopefully you had time to get here early. If you don't, or if you didn't, I'm still going to go through the basics with you, but I do recommend that you watch the What to Expect While Tapping. It'll be a little bit deeper explanation video, and we'll put that in the chat for you here in a second. One of my 2 tech guys who are both here, but you just can't see them. So Magnus the Brave is still with us. You just can't see him. And we also have Austin helping from Austin, making sure everything goes right for you. Tapping is a form of self-care that you can do at home that stimulates the meridians of the body, much like an acupuncture session. It helps you release incoming stress and process accumulated stress and trauma, which means that you stay clean and clear because you're moving through things in real time and you're not letting them stack up and break you down. Another great thing to know about tapping is that it releases oxytocin, and oxytocin is a neurohormone that is created in your brain that allows you to feel trust and love and connection. It's the same chemical compound that gets released during orgasm, cuddling, singing, kissing, holding someone, holding a child, petting an animal, and chocolate. So all that good stuff, some of which we might feel like we're missing, you're going to be able to generate for your body. Now, the cool thing about oxytocin is that it suppresses cortisol. When you get a good hit of oxytocin in your blood, your cortisol stress hormone level goes down for up to 24 hours. Why is that important? Because cortisol is the precursor to illness. Most disease starts with an elevated level of cortisol, meaning that when we're really stressed out, it makes us more susceptible to illness. And none of us want to get sick right now, and anyone who's not feeling their best is going to want to make a lot of cortisol. So tapping is a quick hit of cortisol every time you do it. And this is a life-saving skill to know in these challenging times. You need to know how to process incoming information, process dealing maybe with close quarters, a change in your schedule, all these different things that are sort of surreal right now, right? The things that we're reading, it's changing by the hour. So we're going to move it through, process it out, stay clean and clear, connected to love, connected to each other, connected to our own hearts, connected to the flow of peace and goodness that all of us can generate when we are feeling calm and stable. And that affects the state of the world, because the fields we're emanating with our thoughts and our feelings are affecting all the people around us, and it's actually affecting the entire environment electromagnetically, which I don't have time to get into all the special science around this, but I will be teaching each session more about these things. And you may have noticed that we changed the format. So this used to be a subscription-only circle, and I woke up this morning and said, no, we have to do this, and put it out and got my team on it, and now it is free. We hope that you will donate because, I have to pay people to help me do this, and I want to keep them fed. So we'll ask for donations. If it's possible for you to donate, that will help us be able to stay on the air and broadcast. If not, we welcome you to be our guest. We're here to take care of you. And actually, if you weren't here, I wouldn't be feeling nearly as happy right now. So you're giving my life meaning and purpose and a place to put my love. So thank you. So the format for the World Tapping Circle generally goes like this. I say hello, introduce the theme, which for today is From Pandemic to Peace. And then we go into a 5-minute online survey called the Core Causes Questions. We are going to skip the Core Causes Questions today because nobody needs to dig down deep and see where all this came from and why they're triggered. It's sitting here right on the surface. So we're going to have a little more tapping time. But you will see when you come into the circle in the future, different times we'll be using the Core Causes question. So I just want you to understand the format. I'm going to show you the places to tap on my body. You're going to stimulate the different meridian points. I'll do it. You do it with me. I'll give you some words to repeat. You repeat the words with me. If you need to edit or change the words, you have total privacy to do that. I can't see you or hear you, but I can feel you. So you'll be able to tailor this to exactly how you actually feel, what you're actually thinking, and what you actually need. Off-gassing, a word about off-gassing. Off-gassing is a term I coined for releasing stored stress, accumulated pain or trauma from the nervous system. It comes out of our bodies. All that stored energy is actually a real thing. It's stored in our cells. It's stored in our neural network. It's stored in our bodies, and you'll feel it coming out of you. Don't be surprised if you start yawning while you're tapping. That's off-gassing stored stress. That's a good sign. But there's many forms of off-gassing, and we each have kind of a different way of doing it. Here are the most common ones. Yawning, laughing, burping. I'm a burper, so if I start belching like an old, locomotive, you'll know I'm processing stress that matches what I'm saying. Crying, tingles of energy, sweating, feeling suddenly semi-psychedelic, feeling very drowsy suddenly. If that happens, just stand up. You don't have to stare at me the whole time. You can just listen to my voice. All of this means that your neural network is actually rearranging, and this stuff is coming out of your body. Some people might not feel anything physically at all. They're just going to get sudden insight, feel more peace, and come back into alignment and center. So let it all hang out. Your body knows how to do this. Sometimes the body needs to move. I've seen people's feet kick around. I've seen people have to move back and forth. All of that's fine. Just keep tapping and breathing. If anybody gets a little too overwhelmed as we are discussing and basically self-triggering by talking about what's going on, while we're tapping and bringing empathy and compassion into our situation, then you're just going to slow down, keep tapping and breathing, but stop repeating the words. You'll just tap and breathe until you feel a little bit calmer. If it gets too much, and breathe like this with a big, deep breath. So let's practice that together. Relaxed, open jaw, big sigh. One more time. See, there's a big hole in the front of your face. Energy goes in the form of food. Energy comes out in the form of speech and breath. So you're going to be able to release very quickly if you'll relax your jaw and breathe. All right. So, I'm going to quickly show you the tapping points because a lot of you are new, and then we're going to get right into it. Okay, so the first point is here in the front of the chest. You're going to drop from the collarbones down about 6 inches, pressing around in the front of your chest. Everybody do this with me until you find a tender spot, kind of in the lower pectoral region, upper breast tissue. You'll feel around and you might find a spot that feels a little bit tender, a sore spot that feels slightly different than the surrounding tissue. Just give it a light massage. What this does is it opens the well of feeling inside you. This is Chinese medicine. So you press here, this side actually unlocks this side of the brain, this side unlocks this side of the brain. We want to be able to feel, because what you can feel, you can heal. So massaging the front of the chest and breathing. That's how we start. Then we're going to tap the front of the eyebrow, right where the eyebrow begins. 1 or 2 fingers. Sliding down the eyebrows, tapping the temples, right at the side of the temple. And you're going to breathe as you like. I'll remind you to breathe, but feel free to breathe at any point. Tapping the front of the cheeks, right at the front of the cheekbones, in line with the pupil as you drop down. Tapping under the nose, above the lip, and under the lips. Tapping the front of the chest, you can use 1 or 2 hands. Tapping in any pattern you like. You've got these meridians that go down like this all over, so you're bound to get most of them if you just tap randomly around the front of your chest. The next point is on the inside of the wrist, on the wrist bone. That's the pinky side of the inside of the wrist, tracking down. If you move your hand up and down, you'll feel that bone moving. You're going to tap there. Each one of these points stimulates a different gland, organ, or system of the body. This point happens to be the heart and pericardium point. Some of these points are repeated on the body in more than one place because these circuits travel through your entire body and they're all connected together. So when you're doing this outside of circle, remember that it doesn't matter what order you do these points in, or even if you skip a few, it's still going to work. Put your hand like you're going to karate chop something and do the side of your thumbnail. The side of your thumb. This stimulates points in your head. Tapping the index finger, small intestine, middle finger, large intestine, and pericardium, which is the sac that holds your heart, but also connects to your reproductive system. Tapping the bottom of the 4th finger. This is the only one that flips sides. This one is the triple warmer point, and it controls your thermostat, your physical temperature, but also your relationship to self and perceived other. Myself in the world, myself in you, myself and someone else in the house. Tapping the little finger back to the original edge. This is another heart point. Tapping the side of the hand, the karate chop point. This helps release the colon and the lower bowel area, relaxing all of that stuff that we've been holding on to. Tapping the top of the head, opening up the higher functions of the brain. Tapping the sides of the head, releasing deeply emotions. Tapping the back of the head, releasing the reptilian brain that goes into fight or flight. Okay, so we're literally resetting our brain, changing our brain chemistry, and that's what changes our mood, our thoughts, our feelings, and even our perceptions. All right, you guys ready to rock it? Give me a yes in the chat if you're ready to go. All right, here we go. Massaging the front of the chest. Big, deep breath. Even though Repeat after me. Even though part of me has a lot of fear in my body right now. And just tuning into the level of fear that you've been carrying around all day or all week as you've been watching the news roll in, as you've been concerned for friends and family and yourself. And I want you to gauge how much fear you think you might be in from 1 to 10. 1 is, I barely feel it at all, I feel pretty good. 10 is, I'm about to do the dead bug dance, I'm pretty maxed. That would be 100% just terrified. And go ahead and drop that in the chat so I can see the range. And then I'll ask you at the end of the session to self-evaluate so you can see how tapping works for you. So I see here in the chat that there is a lot of fear moving through people at a pretty high level. Six, sevens, 10s, 9s. Okay, some people down to a 5. People who tap a lot say they're at a 3. That's great. And Christina says, I'm doing the dead bug dance and the lockdown dance, right? And that's a reality. Yeah, here we go. Tapping the eyebrows, repeating after me, even though I feel this fear in my body. Tapping the temples. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Big deep breath. Tapping the cheeks. I am so tired of hearing about the coronavirus. Big deep breath. Tapping under the nose. It's all anyone's talking about anymore. Tapping under the lips. Everything feels overwhelming. Tapping the chest. This fear in my body about the virus. Just noticing the fear in your body for a second about the virus. And the reason you're going to say the virus is because that actually brings up the situation so that you can release it from your body. Tapping down to the bottom of the ribs, bottom of the rib cage. I'm going to stand up for a second so you can see where that point is. Right here, bottom of the rib cage. So if you put your hands at the bottom of your ribs, it's where your ribs jut out the most in front, in line with the nipple. Onto the bones. Okay, big deep breath, tapping the front of the ribs. This fear in my body about the virus. Tapping the side of the ribs so you can cross your arms like this. Again, nipple height, side seam of the body. Or you can tap like this if that's easier for you to reach on with your knuckles. Big deep breath. This fear in my body about the coronavirus. Let's say it out loud. Tapping the inside of the wrist. Part of me just wants to crawl into bed and go to sleep and forget about it. Tap the side of the thumb. It's so overwhelming. Big deep breath. Tapping the index finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though I don't know what to believe about this virus. Tapping the middle finger. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Even with this fear in my body, exactly as it is. So tuning in again to this fear about the pandemic in your body. Tapping the little finger. part of me is afraid I might get it. Let's just acknowledge that. That's me. Tap the side of the hand. Part of me is afraid I might get it. Tapping the top of the head. This fear that I have it and don't know it, or that I will catch it. Tapping the top of the head, the sides of the head, the back of the head. Just acknowledging the part of you. It doesn't even have to be all of you, but maybe a tiny part of you, like everybody, is a little worried that they might catch this thing and that it might be a big problem. Tapping the eyebrows. Big deep breath. Tapping the temples. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even with this fear of catching this virus in my body. Tapping the cheeks and breathing. And tapping under the nose. I deeply and completely accept myself. Tapping under the lips. Whether I get the virus or not, I'm still worthy of love and care. Tapping the chest. I'm allowing myself to process this fear of getting sick. Tapping all over the chest, just tuning in to any unappealing fears around getting sick. So we're just going to break it down, tapping the front of the ribs. What if I start coughing? Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the ribs. What if I start coughing? Tapping the inside of the wrist. What if I get a fever? Big deep breath. Tap the side of the thumb. What if I start feeling sick? Big deep breath. Tapping the index finger, I'm giving myself permission to rapidly recover, even if I've experienced some of these feelings in my body recently. Tap the middle finger. It doesn't mean I have the virus. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I accept my body as it is, however it feels. Tapping the little finger. I'm learning to bring it love so that it can recover and so that it can stay healthy. Tap the side of the hand. So actually just tap the chest and listen for a second, because you actually learn better when you're processing. So in these teaching moments, I'm just going to have you tap your chest and listen. So your body is full of cells, and cells react like people react. If you're fearful towards a person, the person becomes fearful towards you. If you're angry or attacking or telling your body that it's not a good body and that it's not going to be okay, it's going to react like a person does. It's going to shut down. It's going to feel scared. These cells have a harder time taking in nutrition, a harder time releasing toxins, and a harder time taking in oxygen and all the good things that it needs to stay well. So the best thing you can do for your immune system is drop that cortisol level and speak loving thoughts to your body, especially if you're not feeling well. Okay, so back to the inside of the wrist. I'm giving myself permission to love myself through this experience. Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the thumb. Allowing my body to relax and feel safe. Tapping the index finger. So I want you to know that we're talking about this negative stuff in order to put our loving attention and empathy there. That's what's going to actually clear the stress. So don't worry about driving it deeper. It's already as deep as it's going to go. So tapping the index finger, even though I feel stressed and worried. Tap the middle of the finger, middle finger. I give myself permission to release this constant feeling of fear and stress about the virus. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I give myself permission to relax inside and nourish myself energetically. Tap the little finger. I give myself permission to notice that I'm okay right now. Tap the side of the hand and breathe. Tapping the top of the head. Even though I'm afraid about the virus, for what reason? This is where you get to fill in the blank. Maybe you're really afraid for your own health. Maybe you're really afraid for people that you love that aren't with you. So go ahead and say what this fear is about for you. Tapping the top of the head. I'm afraid of what? Tap the back of the head and the sides of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tap the temple. I honor the part of me that's afraid right now for myself or for them. Tapping the cheeks. This is really scary. Tapping under the nose. Let's say it again. This is really scary. Tapping under the lips. And if you want to cuss, this is a good moment to do it. This is really beep scary. Tapping the chest. I'm open to releasing this stress and fear in my body that I'm holding on behalf of myself, on behalf of others, on behalf of the world. Let's say it again. I'm open to releasing the fear and stress I'm holding in my body on behalf of myself, on behalf of others, on behalf of the world. Tapping down to the bottom of the ribs and breathe. Tapping the side of the ribs. Even though I'm afraid that, and you get to fill in the blank again, I'm not going to have what I need, they're not going to get what they need. What else are you concerned about? Take 30 seconds as you tap the inside of the wrist and say it all. Blurt it out, everything you're terrified of right now as you breathe and tap. Keep talking, tapping the side of the thumb. Tapping the index finger, continuing to breathe and tap. Tapping the middle finger, I give myself permission to accept that this is my concern. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I honor the part of me that cares so much. So just notice that all of this fear and worry is driven by care and love, right? If we didn't love these people, if we didn't really love ourselves, we wouldn't be worried. We'd be like, all right, beam me up, Scotty, I'm done. Tap the little finger. Even if part of me is attached to the adrenaline rush around all this scary news, tap the side of the hand. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. And let's just all admit, albeit the first to admit here that I'm watching. I'm like, oh my gosh, this and that and whoa, and how do I help, and what needs to be done, and who needs a phone call? It's kind of exciting, right? It's a lot more exciting actually than watching everything just kind of crumble down and nobody doing anything. Suddenly we're activating and we're caring about each other. Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to the possibility that something miraculous and good is going to come out of all of this. Tapping the side of the head and the back of the head. I am open to and creating the possibility for myself and this world. Tap the eyebrows. That something really good is going to come from all of this. Tapping the temples and breathing. Tapping the cheeks, including some much needed downtime for our whole culture. Tapping under the nose. Some much needed creative time. Tapping under the lips. Some rest and sleep. Tapping the chest. Some time to do what? What would you like to do with this extra time should your community say, hey, you guys, you're all staying in your house for 3 weeks? Tap the front of the ribs. Just for fun, I want you to put some of those creative ideas, those things that you might actually enjoy doing, in the chat. Inspire us. Share ideas. While you're chatting in, I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be painting because I love to paint. I'm going to be crocheting because I have a bunch of yarn, because I put yarn in my hair all the time. So I've got a surplus of yarn at my house. I'm going to be gardening. And I'm going to be really enjoying my dear roommates and best friends' company who lives with me. And I'm going to be figuring out how to broadcast more often and writing a book. Maya says, drawing sacred geometry. Ooh, that's sexy. Rosina says, do more tapping. Blow you a kiss, Rosina. While you're mentioning it, I want you to know that the subscription that you now have to come to the World Tapping Circle, whether it's by donation or it's our $27 a month normal subscription, comes with hundreds of tapping videos, which you will find at worldtappingcircle.com members area. You now will have a password, you can get in, and you can just do all that inner work and clean out that whole deep, deep, deep stuff that you've never had time or money to do. I'm going to read a few more of these, and then we're going to get back to tap. Daniel says, podcasting, singing, reading, channeling, reading cards, decorating my home, and being in joy. Samadi says, gardening and making plasma water to help others, which I'll be sending an email out about that if you're interested. And since I have your email address in the tapping circle, I'll be sending that out in the next few days. That's something we're doing here at home to take care of ourselves, and it also makes us feel wonderful and uplifted. Micah B says, committing to a routine, put videos online, get a Patreon going. Josephine says, codoing my bathroom, gardening and drawing, so some cleaning out of things. I also cleaned my house today. Maya says, start my memoir and meditate. Corey says, reading and cooking. Shoda says, doing more voice healing, just learned. Tiffany says, reading, crochet, writing, planting veggies, catching up on recording astrology podcasts. Oh, this sounds like a good thing. Putting my feet in the grass, gardening, parenting with more presence, tapping. Wow. Okay. I think that as crazy and serious as they're hyping this up, that everybody needed a staycation to tune in and remember what matters And when we come back out of this, we're going to redesign and rebuild our culture based on our new awareness. And we're no longer going to be bullied by the corporate world. We're no longer going to be enslaved by a broken, sick system. We're coming out whole and healthy, and we are redesigning and refining how this world will work going forward. And I'm going to stay steady and strong and make sure that you have the love and support to remember who you are, remember what you're doing, and we'll remember what matters, and we're going to build this together. Tapping the eyebrows, I give myself permission to release remaining stress and trauma about this pandemic. Tapping the temples, even if it's super duper serious, which it might be. Tapping the cheeks, I'm choosing that it works as a miracle for me. Tapping under the nose, that it creates something more beautiful. Tapping under the lips than could have ever happened without it. Tapping the chest. I'm allowing this to be a blessing in disguise. Tapping the front of the ribs. Even if I end up catching it, it's possible this could be a blessing in disguise. Tapping the side of the ribs. What do you think for someone who's sick, the blessing in this might be? Do you think they might suddenly realize how many people love them? Do you think that suddenly they might realize all the things that really matter and vow that if they get well, that that's where they're going to put their time, money, energy, creativity, and attention? Even for those who pass on as a result of this or complications from this, I'll tell you what, the day I unzip and take off my body is going to be one of the most joyous experiences of my entire existence. About 30 seconds, and everything is clear, everything is love, and I get to help from the other side. So should that day come, for me, I am so grateful to have lived my life and so grateful to slip out of this outfit and into my true form. Tap the index finger and breathe. And tapping the middle finger, repeating after me, I give myself permission to relax, to keep myself sane and stable. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger, to enjoy this wild ride that we're on together right now. Tap the little finger. I'm allowing this to create health, more abundance financially. Tap the side of the hand. More creativity. Tapping the top of the head. And more ability to stay connected to who I love and what I love. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to releasing any remaining stress and trauma. Tapping the temples in my body or mind. Tapping the cheeks, tuning in to remaining stress and trauma about the coronavirus. Tapping under the nose. See if you can feel that fear in your body. Fear of getting sick, fear of watching people get sick, fear of death, any of that stuff. Tuning in. Because as you touch it, you actually have the ability for it to change when it meets your empathy. Tap the chest. So as you feel any remaining fear, I just want you to be present to it. Be gentle with it. Don't scold it. Don't try to change it. Just love it. And say, thank you, fear. You're trying to keep me safe. And you're trying to keep others safe. And it's okay if it's making you grumpy. tired, overwhelmed, or stressed out. Tapping the front of the ribs. Telling yourself again, it's totally understandable. Tapping the side of the ribs. All right, we're going to have a quick check-in, and then we're going to tap for about 20 more minutes. So I want you to self-assess now. What is your level of fear or panic or concern about this virus? Put it in the chat and let me know what it was before we started tapping and where it is now. For some people, they said 7, 8, 9, 10. So you'd write that as like a 10 and then a dash and then whatever number you think it is now. For some people, this number goes up temporarily because you were actually a little bit numb to it, and then it'll come down. For others, it'll just go straight down. Shodo says, I'm down to a 2. Wow. It was a 5, now it's a 2. Trish says it was a 7, now it was a 2. Shelly said it was a 10, it's come down 3 points to an 8. Somebody says it's lower, was a 5, now it's a 3. Michael M says he's 50% there. It was an 8, now it's a 4. Christina, a 10 to an 8. Andel says 0 fear. Sorry, these texts are coming in so quickly, it's hard for me to see them all. But you can see them there for yourself as well. 0 fear and no stress, says Andel. Well, congratulations! You have healed your fear of the coronavirus. Micah B says, it's about the same, still afraid I have it and will give it to people I love. So that means you need to tap more on that specific thing. So we're going to give you guys a chance to work on what little pieces you think are still there. All right, I'm seeing a lot of progress, everybody. Dora's saying a 9 to a 2, trust in the good. So we still have 20 minutes. So think about how quickly you've processed that. I've spent half the time educating you, teaching you, and you've only spent probably 15 or 20 minutes of this tapping. So you're already showing great promise as a tapper. Here we go. Massaging the front of the chest. Even though what still really bothers me is, and then say what's really still there for you, or a little bit there for you. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping the temples. I accept this fear or concern, and say what your concern is. And just accept it for now. Tapping the cheeks. Including the idea or belief, and then say what the idea and belief is around this. For example, I don't know how long I might have to be stuck in my house. Or I don't know if my business will make it. Or I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. Whatever it is scaring you, tapping under the nose and breathing. Tapping under the lips. I give myself permission to be curious to see how this goes. Tapping the chest and just listening for a second. So when I go into a situation that's challenging or shocking or scary, and since I deal with helping train people who are triggered who want to become people who aren't triggered that can help people, there's a lot of in my environment. And when that comes to me, if I get a shock or a fear, I say to myself, you know what, there's time to be reactive later. Right now, I will go through this calmly, and if I need to be reactive, I can be retro-reactive. I can get upset about this later if it turns out to be necessary. So that's one way of talking myself down out of a tree. 9 times out of 10, the fear or the anger or the pain that I was getting myself worked up into will drop because I've given it permission to be there later if I need it. I've honored it. And usually by the time later comes, it has worked itself out. So I've saved myself the chemical pollution of all of that cortisol feeling like poison in the body, right? You can feel it when you're releasing it because it does make you feel kind of sick and tired. So back to tapping the eyebrows. I give myself permission to freak out later about this if I need to. Tapping the temples. And for now, I'm going to finish processing my biggest concern, which is what? Tapping the cheeks. And feelings of what? What do you feel? Do you feel angry? Tapping under the nose. Someone said, I feel angry at the government. Let's tap for a couple minutes on that. That's pretty big. I think I feel a burp coming up. Thank you for that. I feel angry at the government. I feel angry at the government. Whoa. I feel angry at the government. Tapping the front of the ribs and breathing. Tapping the side of the ribs. This remaining anger in my body. This remaining anger in my body. Say it again. This remaining anger in my body. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I have every right to be angry. Tap the side of the thumb. However, I'm not willing to stay angry and distress myself. Tap the index finger. I'm not willing to stay angry and lower my immune system. Tap the middle finger, even if my anger is 100% justifiable, valid, and real. Big deep breath. My immune system needs love, peace, hope, and creativity. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. This remaining anger towards the government. Big deep breath. You see, whenever we repeat these simple phrases, it's like Googling the information in your body, looking for places where this information is lodged. And I just tested myself again by saying this remaining anger towards the government. Notice that it's not making me burp or squeal. So that means I just released it from my body, which boosts my immunity and my peace and well-being and brain function. I can think more clearly. Tap the little finger. I give myself permission to process this at my own pace. Tap the side of the hand. I don't have to do all of this in one session. Tapping the top of the head. I give myself permission to process this at my own pace. Tapping the side of the head, the back of the head. So just remember that not everyone processes at the same rate. I tend to process very quickly because I know that suffering is optional, but we've grown up in a culture that hasn't shown that role model too much. So a lot of us process more slowly in the beginning. Tapping the cheeks. I'm allowing myself to release the stress I feel financially. So that's another huge one. Tapping under the nose. So just tuning into your financial situation right now. Tapping under the lips. Breathe and feel. Tapping the chest. So I think we're all living kind of paycheck to paycheck, right? I'm lucky I have about 2 months of resources right now to keep this broadcast going and keep my people paid. And I decided to give it away. Why? Because I believe generosity breeds generosity. And that what we're doing right now is moving from a consumer-based, kind of selfish, me, hold on. We've been taught to compete against each other and to take the thing first. And what we're learning how to do is share our creativity, give our love, connect and work together with each other, and notice how much more resourced we are when we do that, and how much more meaningful our life is, and how much more joyous it is. So I decided if I had only a couple of months worth of money to run my business, that I would rather run it like this than just being sad and thinking that I had to close it. So I'm going to do this and see what happens. And I want you to consider doing that. Sharing your love, sharing your time, sharing your attention, sharing your food, sharing your knowledge. And see what comes back to you. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tap the side of the ribs. Even though I'm afraid that I'm not going to have enough, and then say whatever that is for you. Is it toilet paper? Is it chocolate? Are you afraid you're going to run out of pot? Are you afraid you're going to run out of pizza? Run out of money? We're all in this together. Tap the inside of the wrist. Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the thumb. I give myself permission to be generous to myself. What would that mean? So we've also been living in a culture where we've been not giving ourselves much at all, really. We've been running on fumes and have a lack of self-care. And now we're all kind of in timeout learning about self-care and how fun and good it is. So what if I gave generously to myself the exercise I need, the sleep I need, the creative time I need, the play time I need? Tap the index finger. I'm learning how to be generous to myself and how to share my love and my gifts to the world. Tap the middle finger. I'm releasing the feeling of being driven all the time. And tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm open to the possibility that something beautiful is going to come out of this for all of us. So just tapping the chest and listening again. So one thing I want you to know is that you're not the only one who may be worried about their job. Even people with multiple millions of dollars are worried about their lives too, because the stock market is going crazy right now. So what's cool about that is that it's separating the classism that we've been living under. Everybody's boat is being rocked no matter what size their boat is. Which means that as we open up with compassion and we end the us's versus them, and we realize that everybody is afraid and everybody actually may be worried about losing what they have, whether you have very little or you have a lot to lose. Sometimes people who are used to living without very much actually feel less scared of losing it than people who have a lot and don't know how to survive on very little. But what it's doing is it's evening the playing field. And I have a feeling that we're going to create a much more economically balanced society. That those of us that need humbling will be humbled, and those of us that need to grow and respect themselves will grow and respect themselves. And that we will come out more equal, more compassionate, more wise, and more caring about ourselves and more caring about each other. Tapping the top of the head. All right, repeating after me. I'm open to the possibility of releasing this fear of loss. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm releasing this fear of losing what? Losing my mind, I thought I heard somebody say. Losing my home. You know what? I'm losing weight. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Eating less, keeping food longer, slimming down. Tapping under the nose, big deep breath. This fear of loss, tapping the chest. I accept the part of me that doesn't want to let go and roll with this change. Tapping the front of the ribs. I allow myself to accept this reality for now. Tap the side of the ribs and see where it leads us. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm allowing myself to think of this as a big adventure. An adventure on the inner. Tap the side of the thumb. The inside of me, the parts of me that have been needing my own love and attention. Tapping the index finger and noticing the people around me and what they need as well. Tapping the middle finger. I'm allowing this to be a huge reset. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. Trusting myself to come out the other side. Imagining this bringing out the best in people. So just tapping the chest and listening for a second. I know that the media is pouring fear all over this thing like we're all going to die tomorrow. But we're not all going to die tomorrow. Not even that many people die from this. So could it be a bit of fear porn? And if we take that bait, we go down into a really dark place. But I've seen in studying all kinds of disasters and, as a healer, I'm looking at big waves of what happens in the populace, and what I see in times of chaos and disaster, that a few people get kind of wacky, but that most people, actually, it brings out the very best in them. And I'm choosing for this to bring out the best in me. And I'm imagining it bringing out the best in you as well. So just tapping your chest and saying, I allow this coronavirus pandemic event to actually be a renaissance that restores harmony, that helps us grow and evolve, connect deeper than we ever thought possible to ourselves, to the people around us, and to this world. Take that, fear porn. We're going to make medicine magic out of that, and we're not taking the bait. Tapping all over the body, I allow myself to find pleasure and beauty in taking time to do all these beautiful things, to heal my mind, to heal my heart, to heal my world. Because people make the planet, and as we free ourselves, the world will follow. So what I want to do for you now is something brand new that I haven't done in any circle, but I'm going to start doing it in each circle. I'm going to play you a song because music uplifts me, and when I'm needing energy and I'm needing focus and I'm needing to feel good, I have some really great curated music that I listen to. I'm a closet DJ actually, and I'm going to play you a song to help you get through these times that you're going to want to put on into continuous loop at your house. It's on Spotify, And Austin is going to play that for you. And while he's playing that, I'm going to put out our donation link if you're feeling inspired to help us keep the World Tapping Circle rolling. There's a link for you to do that. Choose your own donation, and please don't feel bad if you can't donate at all. I understand, and we will still be here for you. Crank it up, Austin. I believe in the power of love. This is Mom Muse, called The Power of Kindness. We don't know what's coming. Look it up on Spotify. We can help shape what's ahead. I'll put it in the chat. And Magnus, if you'll put up the pop-up for donations. Mom Muse. More than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Spotify. Ooh, I believe in the power. Okay, check out Mom Muse, you guys. They are an amazing band. I actually taught them tapping many years ago. We're dear, dear friends, and their music is so positive and so uplifting. You're going to enjoy listening to them. Mom Muse, M-A-M-U-S-E. Give a lot, don't stop. I put it there in the chat for you. I'm just going to hang out and listen to this song with you. And thank you for coming to the World Tapping Circle. I love you all so much, and I'll be here for you next week.